Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmed Graves Eel, and welcome to S&J Today's podcast, South Jersey Stories. This is where we get beneath the surface of the news stories and topics we're still talking about. With me today is Victor LaTorre, owner of Vineland's LaTorre Hardware. I interviewed Victor at the hardware store. He talked about what it's like to own a hardware business in a world saturated with Home Depots and Walmarts. He also talked about how he has given back to the Vineland community. How long have you worked here at LaTorre Hardware?
I started when I was about 12 years old, coming to help my dad in the evenings. Our hours were longer then. We were open from 7:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. And my dad would come home and have dinner with our family and then come back and work like 7 to 9 or 6:30 to 9. And I would come back with him and help him sweep the floors, pick up the loose screws on the floor, things like that. I started full-time in high school, not full-time, but working, more regular schedule in high school. And then after college, came back and took the company over.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Sacred Heart High School.
I knew you were going to say that. Because Vineland High.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, what college did you go to?
I went to now Rowan University, then Glassboro State College.
Okay. When did you become president?
In 1983, after college. What happened during college, my dad, who was the managing partner, and my uncle were partners, but my dad ran the operation. My dad had a heart attack, and at that time he was out of work for literally like 6 to 8 weeks. Now, if you had a heart attack, you're pretty much get a stint put in and you're back to work in a week anyway. And I was attending Glassboro State College. I was a science major thinking about becoming a dentist.
A dentist?
A dentist. And I was always working here, so I worked here from, again, when I was a young boy, pretty much. I always had money in my pocket. I always worked and earned a living, earned some money. And then when my dad got sick, I changed my school schedule around, changed my major to business, and decided at that point, after some time, that I wanted to, stay in the family business. And I didn't know, my dad, he was only 50 at the time when he had the heart attack, which was very young, and thought, he might, not be able to continue working. So to keep the family business, make sure everything was going, I came back here and rearranged my schedule there to a more concentrated schedule at Rowan or Glassboro, and then did the worked here and did my schooling, either mornings or evenings, whatever I could do around my work schedule.
Now, do you feel like you sacrificed your dream to work here? I
don't think so. I think it was probably destiny that I work here. I don't know that I would have been, gone all the way through to become a dentist at that point. Mm-hmm. I was still young and kind of exploring what I wanted to do. I knew I liked working here. I always liked, as a young man, making money and having money in my pocket. And I always bought cars. I paid for my own cars. I bought my first house at 23.
Wow.
So, and besides working here, I delivered newspapers. I cut grass on the side. So I was always kind of hustling up an extra job whenever I had free time.
Cool. You were a hustler. How has LaTorre's Hardware managed to survive in a world that's continually being inundated with Walmarts and Home Depots?
It's been a challenge. In the last 15 years have probably been the toughest of the 60 years we've been in business. They've thrown a whole. There's always been a sort of a big box store, but never to the level of so many now, and all these big stores carrying so much of the product we sell. So we decided years ago that we weren't big enough to compete, directly with them. So what we did was we chose our product mix specifically to things they didn't sell. We sold parts for things they did sell, and we did service for things they sold. So anytime you bought something there, you pretty much had to come here to have it fixed.
That's clever.
And we thought that it was a good strategy that if they sold the big piece at a very low margin, better they sell that, we would do the service work at a better profit margin and make the customer happy. He bought it there, he's mad at them, he brings it here, we fix it, we're the hero.
And that's the bottom line, making the customer happy.
We're making people happy. We provide that service on almost everything we sell. We do a lot of warranty repair, out of warranty repair, and it's certainly helped us, keep going through this difficult, business time. The internet has now become the other factor of competition, where people can buy, a hammer online and have it delivered pretty much the next day for free shipping,
right.
Or anything for that matter. So we also have sell things special to our region. We sell a lot of pasta making machines and pizzelle makers and things that are, very traditional in this area, and we ship them out, through the internet all over the country as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. When did you start doing that?
Oh, pretty much back. We did it even before the internet was where people were buying everything on the internet, because the products were pretty specialized and there wasn't a lot of people selling them. So we did that. We've probably done that for about 15 or 20 years. But now with the internet, it's easier to do. People just log in our website and order something, and we can ship it to them.
And that's lucrative for your company?
Yeah, you know what? It's extra business that we don't need to hire extra people to do. So our staff can handle that. The orders are not, we're not overloaded with orders. So there's a few of them a month, and we can handle that so far.
Let's talk about Hometown Heroes.
Okay.
In 2012, you were selected as a Hometown Hero honoree. Mm-hmm. This award is given to Cumberland County community members who are upstanding citizens and who have done their best to help uplift the community. You've been on the Salvation Army and 4-H advisory boards, and you are also the president of the Greater Vineland Chamber of Commerce's board of directors. Would you mind telling our audience a few of the other organizations you've been involved with?
So I've served on boards for a long time. I've served on the local Little League board, on the local Pigtail board, the Sacred Heart High School board, as well as the ones you mentioned. My parents were both served on many boards, and my parents were both elected officials. My dad was an elected freeholder for 23 years. My mom was an elected school board member for about 8 or 12 years. So it kind of came to me naturally. And how we got really involved, my wife and I, my wife started serving on some boards. She would ask through her job to volunteer for different organizations and things. And I said to her, boy, you're putting a lot of time in these organizations, kind of being the lonely husband sitting at home. And she said, well, the way I look at it, we've been very blessed and we need to give back. And that motivated me to get more involved with other organizations like 4-H and Salvation Army, things like that. Salvation Army has a special place in my heart because it's an organization that literally feeds and clothes people in a time where the rest of the world takes all that for granted. We don't have to worry about our next meal coming, and there are people out there that do, and it's very sensitive to me, and I see there's a lot of need locally here, and anything I can do to help that organization, I try to do.
So the community members have to thank your wife.
Really? She's the one for motivating me. I was probably LaTorre. Okay. I was on boards before that, but never got into the charity work that I'm trying to do now to help people. My years move on here, I just try to give back to the community and to the people around here, because there's just a lot of people that need help around here, unfortunately.
And it sounds like a lot of people appreciate the help that you've given to them.
I've never thought to do it worrying about an award or anything. I've taken on causes because somebody maybe asked me to help, or something I saw where there was a need for something, and I just did it because my parents probably did it before me, and it's just something I've learned and have come by naturally.
Okay. So you were kind of talking about the time consumption. Mm-hmm. Is there a secret to how you're able to maintain a successful business while also doing your best to help the community reach its purest potential? Well,
the last 3 years have been the toughest, being 2 years as president of the Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Vineland Chamber of Commerce, and that required a lot extra of my time. I knew it was coming. I had planned for it. My staff covered for me when they needed to. Very appreciative of that. But I attended a lot of grand openings, ribbon cuttings, meet and greet events, luncheons. I spoke at events, spoke to different groups, represented the chamber best to my ability. And I took that commitment, and I just wanted to live up to that commitment that I had made, 16 years ago when I first joined the chamber board. Okay. I'm retiring from the chamber as a board member. Actually, as of June 1st, I retired, and our annual dinner is next week, and they're honoring me for my 16 years of service, which they didn't need to do, but it's very nice that they are.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how do you feel about receiving that prestigious honor?
Yeah, well, it's, again, when I finished as president last year, I made my speech and thanked everyone for, allowing me to take some of my ideas forward in the community and supporting my ideas that I had. And we've had all types of people as president of the chamber over the years. You get a 2-year term, and there's been attorneys and construction people and, all different areas of work, and I'm probably one of the first small businessmen to be president in a while. And my focus was for helping small business. It was my interest when I became president, and my goals and my agenda was to do whatever I could for smaller businesses to bring awareness to shopping local. I think that because of the internet and things, people need to be reminded that there's still local businesses that pay local taxes and put money back in the community, sponsor ball teams, do all those little things, and it's nice that people remember the small businesses when they do their shopping too.
Do you feel successful in bringing that awareness?
I think so. I really felt that we accomplished a lot, and I was able to bring a lot of fresh ideas that that are programs that are in place that are going to continue after I'm gone. So that hopefully
awesome.
Means something to somebody.
Cool. Okay, we're gonna take a different direction here.
Okay.
So I heard from a little birdie, our friend Marie Gallo, that you've had some very interesting experiences in your life. One is that you once carried the statue of Padre Pio in a celebration in Italy, and another is that you were very into scuba diving. Can you please tell our audience about those experiences?
Well, it was funny because it was my 50th birthday, and my wife and I and my son and his wife, I took them to Italy to celebrate my 50th birthday. I kind of think that I thought if I was celebrating in another country that turning 50 wouldn't be so bad, but I wanted to go back, and when I was 10 years old, I kind of made the same trip. I went to my mom's hometown. My mom was born in Italy, so I went to her hometown and the house she was born in, and I went to the town where my grandfather on my dad's side was born back in 1970. So 50 years later, I got to make the same trip and went to the same two houses.
Cool.
And I got to take my wife and my son and my mom and my aunt, who my aunt was my last remaining relative on my dad's side. And it was we went on a group with a priest friend, a longtime family priest friend of ours, who organized a trip, and we were able to take that trip and then branch off to go do our little trips to my family's town. So I was the priest that is running the trip. I was his altar boy in 1974, 75. When he first became a priest, I was in grade school and became an altar boy. And we remained friends. He married me, baptized my son, and we stay in touch and we travel together. So he was going to say Mass in the little hometown where his grandparents were born, in his church. And we happened to go, and there was a festival. And they, as part of after the Mass, I got to be the altar server on the altar with him in front of the whole full church and all of our people that traveled with us, and this whole little town, about 100 people from this little town. And afterwards they said, we're going to have a procession through this little mountainous town, up the hill, down the hill, all around this little town. And I got to be the cross bearer in front of the statue, leading the entire procession.
Wow.
On about a 90-degree day in full attire. But it was just one of those days on my birthday I got to do that with my family. Just because I was the altar server, and there was a local young girl that was altar serving, and she said to me, "You carry the cross." It was heavy, probably better for her, and she carried a candle. And so we led the whole procession through this town. It was very neat, not expecting it to happen at all. It just kind of happened randomly. But that was very cool. And then scuba diving was something I took up back in my 30s with a buddy, and we wanted to do some diving, and we trained at the YMCA pool in Vineland, got our certification, went out and did a couple dives off of Barnegat, got our about 60 feet of water in a very cloudy, murky conditions, and you have to pass the test. You have to take your mask off and put it back on and clear the water and take most of your gear off, put it back on. And so I got to go through all that, and I did do some diving with that group down in the Florida Keys, which was really nice, where you could see everything.
Right.
I did some diving later in Hawaii, and then had a little bit of an eardrum problem, and then I kind of gave it up after that.
So how long were you a scuba diver?
Oh, about 10 years, I guess, a period of 10 years. That was one of my hobbies that I did. Now I kind of focus on golf. It's much less intensive, and the way I play, it's intensive, but...
Well, at least you're drier.
Yeah, I'm dry, that's right. My ears do well with it. I don't have to worry about that.
Cool. All right, so this is the 60th year that LaTorre's Hardware has been in business. Did you ever think it would last this long?
I remember celebrating our 50th year and kind of seeing how the economy was changing and the business environment was changing. And I thought, well, 50 is a great accomplishment. My dad had died just prior to our 50th anniversary, so he didn't get to live for that. And I wanted, that was the celebration of his life and his hard work and my uncle's. And then we got to 55, and I thought, okay, well, we're still moving forward. And this year, 60, when the calendar turned in January, I said, wow, it's 60th year. And it really, this year meant a lot. 50 was a big one, but 60 is the last 10 have been, challenging. And to make it, I'm very thankful for the local people in the community that have supported us, my family and staff that have supported me with the company. I couldn't have done it without without all of those folks. So.
That's awesome. Do you have any children that are going to follow in your footsteps and take over the business like you did, if and when you decide to retire?
I don't. My son is moved back to the area with his wife, and he is a teacher in Millville, New Jersey, and she is a veterinarian at the Jersey Shore, and he is not interested in taking over the business. He worked here like I did through high school and college, and always helped me out on we had a little anniversary sale a couple of weeks ago, and he'll come in and help me when he can, and then when he's off from teaching. So we're looking for somebody else in the family maybe to move forward. Maybe my nephew, he's had some interest, and he works part-time for us. Okay. So we're hopeful somebody will take it over and keep it moving.
Got to keep it moving and violent. Yeah. As Father's Day approaches, I'd like to ask you, what do you think your father would say about how you not only have kept the business alive, but also how you've been able to build upon his success?
I wonder that a lot. I miss his guidance because he pretty much let me run the company after college with restraint. When we did our audition and things like that, we had our heated moments over decisions like that. But I think I know he's proud. I'm sure he's proud of what I done and kept it going. And when he passed, it was always about keeping. I was kind of the caretaker for what they had started, because they really started when it was this little room, a 30 by 30 area, just this area, and it's been added on 5 times, and they did 4 of those editions. I did the last one. But when I did come in and get involved and brought what I learned in college and all the years of working here and some new marketing ideas, and they were at the point where they were in their 50s and 60s and kind of where I'm at now, starting to slow down, and I was able to bring in a fresh set of ideas and vision, and it did, it took off, and the economy was good in the 80s and 90s. We boomed here, and we just grew immensely. So now it's just a little harder, but we keep moving forward and looking for little areas that we can service customers and do what we do better.
Cool. I noticed your workers in the front, they were calling customers that came in by their first names.
We try to do that. That's important. We've always had that theory that get to know our customer and they'll come back. We want to be their hometown store. We want them to think, let me go to Vic and Vic's staff, especially if they've got a broken lawnmower, broken lamp, or whatever we can fix for them, we'll fix it. And they know that, and they come here and they'll shop for other things while they're here. That's our theory.
That always makes people feel comfortable then.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, is there anything else you'd like to tell our audience about yourself and or LaTorre's hardware that hasn't been covered in our conversation?
No, I think we've covered a good range of topics. Again, thank you to the citizens of Cumberland County and the surrounding area that have supported us so loyally for 60 years. And thanks to my family and staff for all that they've done to help make our business, stay around this long. I do really appreciate it. The city council and the mayor just recognized us for our 60th year, and I said the same thing there. It could have never happened without the support of the local people in Cumberland County.
Cool. Well, SNJ, today we'd like to congratulate you as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to SNJ Today's podcast, South Jersey Stories. Find more local news at snjtoday.com or follow up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. South Jersey Stories is hosted by Ahmed Graves Eel and produced by Kevin Howard, with music by Jeff Schwachter.